You're listening to the Retirement Solution Podcast with John Hicks.
Helping you solve the retirement puzzle. Welcome to the Retirement Solution with John Hicks.
Hey, thanks for checking out the podcast. And remember, if you have a question that you'd like us to address here on the show, you can always drop us an email through our website at retirementsolutionradio.com. Pretty soon, John, it looks like maybe, and I include maybes on everything lately, but maybe we're going to finally have more sports back, and that includes baseball. Maybe.
Oh, I don't know.
With all these players testing positive, I'm wondering now. So we'll see.
Do you know what they heard? Well, what I heard. I don't know what they heard.
What did you hear?
Here's what I heard. So with Major League Baseball, they're talking about maybe coming back, but they're going to be testing these players 3 times a day.
Oh.
3 times a day.
And from what I understand, it's very unpleasant.
Well, I don't know if they're doing the full, shove, the 4-foot Q-tip up your nose thing, where it touches the back of your brain. Okay. I don't know if they're doing that, but they're at least having their temperatures checked at a minimum 3 times a day. But I tell you what, if they're going to shove that thing up my nose, I would demand more pay.
Yes. I might side with the players on this then, yeah. Oh,
that sounds like workplace. What do you say? Workplace hazard?
Yes.
That sounds like a workplace hazard.
For sure.
Well, this nice lady keeps shoving this 4-foot Q-tip up my nose. It's touching the back of my brain. I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to hit a curveball.
Right. Yeah. You'll lose some brain cells in the process. But we're hoping that this gets underway soon. At least we have their schedules out, and we can look forward to some normalcy here. But because of the shortened season, players right now, as it stands, will have to settle for smaller paychecks, even though they're getting Q-tips shoved up their nose. There is an exception, though, for former player Bobby Bonilla. Yes. And so this guy has been retired for 2 decades, but the former Mets star is still getting paid. You followed him back in his playing days, right, John?
Absolutely. So he was part of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So as a matter of fact, there were a few year stretch there where he was more well-known than Barry Bonds. And he made the All-Star team. I can't remember exactly, in the late 80s, early 90s. I'm going to say 3 out of 5 years. So, I mean, this guy was a great baseball player. He's still getting paid?
Yes. So he's made a really great deal for himself because every single July, so this month, actually for 25 years, he receives a check for more than $1 million. And that's because his agent, Dennis Gilbert, negotiated a deal of a lifetime in which Bonilla deferred part of his salary.
I'm a big believer in deferred compensation, and we recommend that for attorneys, doctors, and everybody. Remember, it's not what you make or what you have, it's what you keep. And deferred compensation helps you keep your money.
So Gilbert tells Yahoo Finance, the Mets originally owed Bonilla $5.9 million, but that deferred comp is actually going to boost his income to $30 million. Man, what a deal for himself.
How come stuff like this doesn't make the front page headlines, right?
Yeah.
So he actually got, and guys, we've talked on the show before where people got bad financial advisors. Barry Manilow had a bad financial advisor. Bobby Bonilla had a great one. He had a great one. They realized at the end of Bobby's career, he was playing for the Mets. And here's the thing. He never made an all-star team as a Met. That was on his way out. He had spent time with the Orioles. He'd spent time, I think he was a journeyman for a couple of years, may have had some injuries, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the former all-star that he was at Pittsburgh was not even around. The Mets owed him roughly $6 million. And his agent, his basically financial advisor, said, hey, why don't we do something a little different here? Instead of getting that $6 million, why don't we turn this into an awesome income that's going to last you for a lifetime? And they turned that into $30 million. Listen, guys, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know if you had invested. I have no idea. If you had invested in McDonald's, Starbucks, Amazon, Facebook, I don't know if you had done that then. I don't know if you would have actually turned $6 million roughly into 30. I mean, that is a ton of money.
Yes.
And this guy has been able to spend these paychecks even though he has not worked. He has not worked in nearly 20 years.
Man,
oh my gosh.
I bet he does a big party every July. I hope he does. Yeah.
I was that Bobby still getting paid partay. That's what I would be doing. But here's the thing, guys. How is our retirement any different? I mean, seriously. So all of us, hopefully we've given this thought. If you're listening to the show, I implore you right now, quit procrastinating and think about what do you want your retirement to look like? I don't care if you're 15 years old. Hey, by the way, if you're 15 and listening to the show, you are light years ahead
of everyone
any
else.
Of your competition.
Yes.
Please keep listening. I promise I'm not going to steer you wrong. But the idea is if you could do something like that, where you could say, hey, I want to quit punching the clock today, but I want to get paid for 25 or 30 more years. How awesome would that be?
Yeah.
And there are a few things out there that allow this, right? Mm-hmm. If you got a pension, you know what I'm talking about. There is a little bit, just a little bit, and every one of you got a pension. I know it. I talk to you all. You're a little cavalier.
Well, you're like Bobby. You know that paycheck's coming. It's fine, you know?
There's a little swagger.
Yeah.
There's just a little bit of, you know what? I got a little change in my pocket going jing-a-ling-a-ling. I want to call you on the telephone, baby, and give you a ring. Each time we talk, I get the same old thing. When they no hugging, no kissing, unless I get a diamond ring. See, that's kind of like retirement, right? It's kind of like, so that was the Georgia Satellites, of course.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I know. I had to, if I'm going to wax poetry, I can't take credit for what isn't mine.
For their genius lyrics.
Yeah,
yes.
No, it was the Georgia Satellites. And the whole thing is, he's got a little change in his pocket, but he's like, no, I'm going to prolong this because retirement is no different than a fickle person that you're trying to court, right? Yeah. If you don't got any money, they may not want to entertain you. Retirement's no different. So if you have a pension, that's great, but what if you don't have that pension? What if that check does not come in? Because we don't have one. We can't get one. Our company didn't allow it. They didn't pay in for it. All right? So that's one of those things. So if you don't have that, then we don't have even access to that quote-unquote strategy. So some people look at annuities. We kind of call that the A word here. And here's the point. If you're looking at this to be a replacement for cash at the bank or for very conservative bonds or for some of that super safe portion of your portfolio, if you're looking for that, they can be appropriate. But here's the problem with me, guys, and this is why I don't like people looking at this situation right now. Interest rates are literally at rock bottom. The Federal Reserve has even said we're actually even going to keep them low for another year and a half to maybe 2 years before they even have a chance of going up, which means that if you're looking at even a pension now, if you're looking at a pension payment or you're looking at annuity, those kind of two words, they kind of work hand in hand. A pension is an annuity. But you can get an annuity on your own even if you don't have a pension. Does that kind of make sense, Jennifer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is they work hand in hand and we are at rock bottom interest rates, which means that if you're going to lock in an annuity or a pension, you're locking in at potentially the lowest interest rates we're ever going to see, which means you're locking in potentially the lowest payment you could ever receive in the future. So I do believe that there will be a time when annuity strategy may be better for folks, but not today. So if we don't want or can't do either of those, then we can look at dividend paying stocks, right? We hear all kinds of stuff. Everything on the Google machine, everything our advisors may say, dividend paying stocks, because even if that company goes down, you're still going to get that dividend. Hold up. Are we? Because after this COVID thing, guys, guess what? 24% of dividend paying companies are no longer paying dividends.
Wow.
Did you hear that right?
24%.
Yes, because I heard that right. It is actually the truth. 24% of companies that were paying dividends are now no longer paying dividends. Or here's the worst part, cannot pay those dividends. Which means that not only are we in jeopardy of that company not giving us an income, a dividend, they could actually lose value as a company, and then we wouldn't even be getting a dividend for it. So because of that, that makes me a little nervous. And so here's the other point. The market went down for a while, and basically about a month, but then it's come all the way back up. Guys, we're nearing the top of the market again, just like we were in February. Now, does that mean it comes down from here? I don't know. I don't necessarily think so because of what the Federal Reserve is doing and what the presidency is doing. I don't think so. But having said that, I don't think I would want to lock in and buy dividend paying stocks at the price today. It's kind of expensive. So when you look at those three things that almost everyone's talked about, pensions, annuities, or dividend-paying stocks, none of those seem like a proper fit. If this is Goldilocks and you're looking for the perfect situation, this one's too high, this one's too low, this one's just right, none of those are just right. It's because I heard this for so long is why we created the Omega income strategies. So people can generate an income that they need. They need to live off of it. But they don't have to have complete safety if they know that complete safety is going to cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars of income over the years.
Right.
At the same time, they certainly don't want to take the risk of the broad market because they need to be able to retire.
Yeah.
So if a client says, John, I need to get 5% every year on my money, come heck or high water, I got to do it. We can create that. If they said, I need to get 7%, and my guy says I can only pull out 4%, And I should be really nervous about that because if I pull out 4, there's still a 15% chance I could run out of money because I'm in high quality mutual funds. Well, that number one, that's a bad statistic to begin with,
right?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're only pulling out 4 and you could still have nearly a 20% chance of running out of money, that kind of stinks. I don't think I would want that advisor anymore. Or I'd want to find a different strategy. But if that's what you've heard, the whole point is, well, if you need 7%, why don't you actually use mathematics behind you and create an income stream you can live? That's what we've done for our clients. As we near that point to where we don't want to work anymore, we've ended our working situation. We want the omega. We want income. Because that big old pile of money we saved, now we want it to pay us back. We sacrificed. We put in unbelievable time and attention to grow this pile of money, however much it is. All of us are different, but we put that in and we need it to pay us back now. Now it's time for that pile of cash to do its work for us.
Yeah.
So the idea is that what we've created a strategy, a full system of strategies that allow people, individuals just like us, no matter how much money we have, to get a secured opportunity to get income that we need with not even remotely as much risk as the broad market, but substantially better than what the bank is paying. We plug the gap that I think that every American wants. We are trying to make retirement great again. We want the ability to, no matter what happens out there, no matter who wins the election, no matter what markets do, as long as they don't literally careen off the deck, we want our clients to have the ability to know they can spend whatever they tell us they want. 5%, 6%, 7.25%. That can be done. You have to be aware of all the pros and cons. So when you think about those types of things, if that's what you have been missing, if that's what you want the Bobby Bonilla lifestyle, you want something, you want to make a decision that will pay you and potentially your family for years and years and years and years, but you don't want to lock it up forever. You don't want the lowest interest rates on the planet. You ought to seek something like this out.
You know, Bobby did that with his agent. He
Which is
worked on
why
that
he's
deal.
Still being paid
Exactly.
20 years later.
Have questions for John? Drop us an email at retirementsolutionradio.com.
Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if John Hicks is licensed in your state, please call 502-690-5635. J. Hagan Capital Inc. is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through John Hicks, Kentucky Insurance License number 998827.